Salvete omnes, today we will be learning from chapter 19 of Wheelock, which includes the perfect passive system in all conjugations and the interrogative pronoun and adjective. You'll recall that the tenses in the perfect system are the perfect tense, future perfect tense, and pluperfect tense. Just like the present system, the perfect system can also be used in the passive. While we have only learned the present passive for the first and second conjugations, the perfect passive system is easy enough that we'll be learning it in all conjugations today. The perfect passive is very simple to construct. You just take the perfect passive participle, which is the fourth principal part of the verb, and combine it with a form of sum for the perfect, ero for the future perfect, and eram for the pluperfect. The form of sum with the principal part act together as a verbal unit, but it might be easier to think of the participle as a kind of predicate adjective. Because of this, the participle must agree with the subject in gender, case, and number. The perfect passive participle declines just like a first/second declension adjective. Let's look at the conjugation of laudo laudari in the perfect passive. First, let's do the perfect passive with a masculine subject. The first person singular would be laudatus sum. The second person singular would be laudatus es. The third person singular would be laudatus est. The first person plural would be laudati sumus. The second person plural would be laudati estis. And the third person plural would be laudati sunt. See how the declension of the participle changes to reflect the number of the subject. This would be translated as I was praised, you were praised, he was praised, we were praised, you all were praised, and they were praised. Now let's look at the future perfect passive with a feminine subject. The first person singular would be laudata ero. The second person singular would be laudata eris. The third person singular would be laudata erit. The first person plural would be laudautai erimus. The second person plural would be laudautai eritis. And the third person plural would be laudautai erunt. It would be translated as, I will have been praised, you will have been praised, she will have been praised, we will have been praised, you all will have been praised, and they will have been praised. Finally, let us look at the pluperfect with a neuter subject. The first person singular would be laudatum eram. The second person singular would be laudatum eras. The third person singular would be laudatum erat. The first person plural would be laudata eramus. The second person plural would be laudata eratis. And the third person plural would be laudata erant. It would be translated as, I had been praised, you had been praised, it had been praised, we had been praised, you all had been praised, and they had been praised. When parsing these verbs, include the participle with the verb. This means I will not only want to know the person, number, tense, mood, and voice, but also the gender of the subject, since it is built into the verb. This chapter also introduces the interrogative pronoun. This is a pronoun that asks for the identity of a person or thing. In the sentence, quid vides, what do you see, what would be the interrogative pronoun? Its declension is very easy. In the singular, it is very similar to the relative pronoun with two exceptions. The first being that the masculine and feminine have the same forms, and the second being that the nominative forms are quis and quid instead of qui, quai, quad. In the plural, it is identical to the plural relative pronoun. On your screen now, you can see the declension of the singular interrogative pronoun. There is also an interrogative adjective, which asks for a more specific identification of a person or thing. In the sentence, quod signum vides, what sign do you see? Quod is the interrogative adjective. The forms of the interrogative adjective are identical to those of the relative pronoun, in both the singular and plural. Because it is an adjective, it will agree in gender, case, and number with the person or thing it is asking for more information about. Quod signum instead of quid. It is very important for you to be able to differentiate between the interrogative pronoun, interrogative adjective, and relative pronoun. Let's look at them side by side. The interrogative pronoun asks a question about the identity of a person or thing. It has no antecedent and often introduces a sentence with a question mark. An example of this is quid legis, what are you reading, in which quid is the interrogative pronoun. The interrogative adjective asks for more information about a person or thing and both precedes and agrees in gender, case, and number with the noun it is asking about. An example of this is quid librum legis, where quid is an interrogative adjective that agrees in gender, case, and number with its antecedent, librum. The relative pronoun usually introduces a subordinate clause, has an antecedent, and does not ask a question. In fact, relative clauses answer questions in a sense that they are adjectival and provide more information about their antecedents. A relative pronoun will agree in gender and number with its antecedent, but not necessarily in case, since its case is determined by its use in the relative clause. An example of this is liber quem legis est meus. The book which you are reading is mine. In this sentence, quem legis is the relative clause. Quem is the relative pronoun that agrees in gender and number with its antecedent, liber, but its case, accusative, is determined by its use in the relative clause, as it is the object of the verb legis. I know that these differences can be confusing. Instead of doing a cultural bit, I instead want you to sit down and take a good look at page 156 of your textbook. There are 5 different sets of 3 sentences. Identify whether the italicized word is a relative pronoun, interrogative pronoun, or interrogative adjectives. If you have any questions while doing this, be sure to email me. Also be sure to have your forum posts in by Friday night, your quizzes done by Saturday night, and your worksheets and optional extra credit done by Sunday night. Valete omnes.